Hey nails babes, welcome back to my channel. Wagwan, how is everyone doing? Today we will be doing some long stiletto nails, red, and can't wait for you guys to see how these came out. So first I went in and I pushed my cuticles back, that way I expose all my new growth. As you guys know, you have to take every step in prepping, that way you avoid lifting. Then I'm going to come in and I'm going to cut the nails down to the desired length. It all depends on how the client's nail look, which is going to determine if I'm going to skip this step or not. Then I'm going to come in with my cuticle bit and I'm going to use this bit to clean up all that new growth that's on the client nail. You want to make sure you get in the cuticles and around the side wall, because if you don't clean this up properly, you're going to have lifting. 75 or 85% of your lifting comes from prepping. So you have to spend time to make sure you're prepping the nail properly. So if you have a problem getting close to the cuticle using your sanding band, you should definitely consider getting yourself a cuticle bit, because this is not aggressive and it's going to help you get close to the cuticle without cutting your client. So try to invest in a cuticle bit. You don't have to use a cuticle bit. This is just like my personal preference, and when I use it, my nails, they last longer. So I would definitely advise anyone to get a cuticle bit. Worse if you're struggling with lifting. So now I'm going to come in with my fine sanding band. Just going to put this over the barrel, put that in my drill, lock the drill, put my drill to around 4,000 or 5,000 RPMs, and then I'm going to prep the rest of the nail. Going from the right to the left, I'm going to go over the surface of the nail, making sure I remove all the shine from the natural nail. Whenever you're prepping, you do not need to put any pressure on the nail. You're literally doing just like gentle motion, light motion. You don't want to put too much pressure on the client's natural nails, because that can cause rings of fire. I don't know if you ever see some clients, they might come to you, or your clients, they have these line or these indents going across their nails. That can be from over prepping. So try to be careful not to over prep your client's natural nail. You only need to remove the shine from the natural nail. How do you know when your natural nail is like properly prepped? The nail will become matte. So you'll see all the nail, there's no shiny spots or nothing on the nail. So the nail is gonna get matte. You definitely want to prep your nail, because this is how the acrylic is going to be able to adhere to the natural nail. The acrylic does not adhere to the nail properly if the surface is shiny. So you have to prep your nail. Then I'm coming in with my nipper and I'm going to nip my cuticles from the right to the left. If you're not comfortable getting close to your client's cuticles like that with a nipper, you don't have to do it. By the way, some states doesn't even permit this. So if you're not comfortable, you can always skip this step or just go in as much as where you're comfortable with. So you don't have to do the most. But I like to remove it, because sometimes when you apply your cuticle bead, that hanging cuticle can be in the way, and sometimes even when you go into polish, the cuticles can be in the way. So you always want to try to work with minimal of that excess cuticle. Now I'm coming in, I'm going to measure my tips, making sure they fit from sidewall to sidewall. You always want to make sure your tips are fitting from side to side. This way you're going to have all the strength of the nail. You don't want to put a tip on that's too small, because this can cause your client's nail to break easily or lift, all that stuff. So measuring the tip from sidewall to sidewall, making sure it fits, is very, very important. Don't overlook this, because this is where the strength comes from. So you don't want to put a tip on that's too small. If you cannot find a tip that fits exactly, go with the bigger tip and come in with your scissors or your hand file and shave the sides down, or clip the sides, whatever you have to do to make the tip fit. I'm using the KDS glue. And I'm just going to put the glue on the client's natural nail, and then I'm going to glue the tips on. Whenever you're gluing your tips, make sure you do not glue your tips crooked, because if you do so, it's a high chance that your nail is going to come out crooked in the end. So try to glue your tips on straight from the jump. That way you don't have to struggle trying to get the shape back when it's already too late. If you have a problem, you can glue the tip, then you turn the client's hand and look at the tip from the client's view. That way you can see if the tip is straight or not, just to make sure before you proceed with putting the acrylics on. Also, you can look at the client's knuckles and you can follow where the knuckle is going. Usually that's how I get my tips to go on straight. But if the nail is crooked, try not to follow the shape, the direction that the nail is going. When you're gluing your tip, you do not need to glue the tip halfway down the nail or none of that. You just need to have the tip exactly at the free edge of the client's natural nail. You want to keep as much of the nail bed as possible. This way the acrylic have more space and more adhesion. So you definitely don't want to leave like halfway through, glue the tips halfway down. That's not going to work, because then the acrylic only have like just so much space to adhere to. So give yourself enough nail bed to work with. The tip doesn't need to be halfway through the nail. As you guys can see, I'm going to just come in and I'm going to cut the nail to the client's desired length. She did say she wants the pinky finger to be a tad bit shorter than the rest of the nail because of her personal preference, her lifestyle, whatever the case is. So I did go in and I cut that pinky finger a bit shorter. Now I'm going to come in with my scissors and I'm just going to use this scissors to remove majority of the nail, especially at the tip. Because I'm not going to pre-shape this nail with my hand file, I do not like to pre-shape extendos too much because it's not very comfortable for the clients. However, you can pre-shape your nails. I'm not saying you're not supposed to do it, but for me, I don't like to do it because sometimes the tip moves back and forth, even though you can use your fingers to keep the tip stable. But for me, I just prefer to apply my acrylic. Then when I come into shape, I just go to work without having to be careful. You know, even sometimes like client with very short nail beds, it's so hard. I find it so hard to shape the tips in the beginning. So you guys are going to see the results still came out super cute. But if you want to go ahead and pre-shape your nail, you should definitely do that. This is just how I do it. So now I'm coming in with my 100 grit hand file and I'm just going to blend the tips to the natural nail, making sure everything is nice and smooth, because this is going to help me with my acrylic application. Everything is going to be like nice and smooth. So I never leave that little bump in it. I always go in, use my hand file and remove it. Now I'm going to come in with this dehydrator. I'm going to dehydrate the nail with a lint-free wipes, and then I'm going to come in with the primer and prime the nail. One thing I'm going to say, I noticed that like applying the acrylic while the primer is wet does help with lifting. One thing, try not to oversaturate the nail, because if you put too much primer on your nail, the acrylic might not be able to adhere properly. So don't oversaturate it where you're literally flooding the cuticle, because that can also cause lifting. So just be generous, don't put too much on it. So when I'm doing colored acrylic, I oftentimes come in with a coat of clear. I'm going to put this over the nail, then I'm going to come in with my color powder. Guys, look at this red. This red, I'm going to leave the link in the description box. This is called More Fiah. It's available on my website. So the first bead, I pick it up, I place it right where the tip and the natural nail meets, making sure I hold the client's fingers facing downward. And then I'm just going to gentle guide the acrylic towards the tip of the nail, making sure I'm always wiping my brush. You have to constantly wipe your brush. This is the only way you're going to be able to have your brush for a long time. You have to care your brush, so constantly wipe your brush, and this is going to help you with your application and help you keeping your brush way longer. So practice wiping your brush. Now I'm going to come in with my cuticle bead. I never place my cuticle bead in the cuticle. I placed it just above the cuticle, and then I tuck it back in the cuticle. Just gentle tuck, gentle motion, gentle feathers. You never want to be too aggressive whenever you're applying your acrylic, because you can end up removing the product. Once you have good product working with, the product is going to do all the work for you. All you really need to do is guide the acrylic and make sure that you keep wiping your sides and keep your shape. Whenever you're doing long nails, you have to be careful making sure you're building a good apex, because if your apex is not right, this nail is going to break very easy. You have to practice looking at your nail from the side view, because this view is going to help you to see like where you need to add more product or how your apex is looking. So look at your nail from the side, and then you're going to be able to see if you need to add more acrylic anywhere on the nail, and then you can just always come in and do that. Never be shy to come in and fix your work until everything is looking good. So again, the first bead I'm going to place right where the tip and the natural nail meets. This middle finger is going to be a ombre nail, so I'm just going to blend the back of this bead, making sure it's nice and flat. Whenever you're doing an ombre, you never want to leave a harsh line, because if you leave a harsh line, you're going to possibly see where the red started through the nude acrylic or through your pink acrylic. So you always want to make sure you blend that line from the back, make it as flat as possible. That way your ombre can be nice and seamless. Always clean the side of your nail up, that way you keep the shape of your nails, because you don't want to give yourself extra work in the end. When you do a very neat application, you will save so much time. So just take your time and make sure everything is nice and neat. Then I'm going to come in with my cover. This nude is called Coverage Nude, also available on my website. All products used in this video will be linked in the description box. So this nude, I'm going to come in, place it right at the cuticle, and then I'm going to blend this in the red. Whenever you're doing an ombre, you always want to make sure your transition from nude to whatever color you're using, the cover powder and the bright color, whatever it is, it needs to have a very smooth transition. Don't have like harsh lines going, like you see how I have my nude and the red. The nude going in the red should be very smooth. How you're going to achieve that? Try to work on the wet side and try to blend that bead in the red as fast as possible. This way you're going to be able to, like, you're not going to be able to see all that streaks and all that stuff, because you know we're working to have like seamless ombre. So try to work on the wet side, and then that's going to help you, and blend the bead as fast as possible. As you guys know, whenever you're doing an ombre, you have to encapsulate it. That way when you come in to file, you're not filing exactly in the ombre design. So the clear is basically going to protect the ombre. Now I'm coming in on this pointer finger. We're going to be doing a solid nude, placing this bead right where the tip and the natural nail meet. Whenever I'm doing long nails, when I place the bead down, I don't lose contact with it. If you're struggling with getting your bead from where the tip meets to the tip of the nail, I don't know if that makes sense. Whenever you place the bead down, try not to lose contact with the bead. You're going to place it down, lift your hand, then extend the bead, and then you release it. That's how you're going to be able to, like, it's like giving it a jump start, telling it, okay, I need you to float towards the tip. So you can definitely practice that, and you're going to be able to get to the tip of your nail with one bead very easy. Always make sure you're cleaning up your side walls and your cuticle area, because this is going to help you with lifting. Never leave any product on the client's skin or leaking in the sidewall, because like I said, this is going to cause lifting, and it's going to be very hard for you to come in with your hand file and remove this. It's really extra work. Whenever you're cleaning up your sides, use the very tip of the brush to do this, because if you use the belly of the brush, or let's say you didn't use the tip, let's say you use the barrel of the brush or the belly of the brush, you're basically just pressing the acrylic in the sidewall. The tip of the brush is going to clean the sidewalls out. So use your tip of the brush whenever you're trying to clean up your sidewalls. Then as usual, like I said, you have to make sure your apex is nice and strong. That way if the client hit their nail, it's not going to break easily. Especially with long nails, you have to pay close attention to your apex. Going to come in on the thumb, we're going to be doing another ombre. Oh my gosh, look at that color! And I didn't even have to wait like so long for it to polymerize. Like as soon as I pick it up, 3 seconds, bam, ready to go. I really love these acrylics, guys. I am so in love, so in love. One thing, okay, look how this bead was leaking to the side. That's because her nail, it wasn't facing downwards. I had her finger straight. When you have the client's finger straight, the acrylic is going to leak off to the side. It's very important to hold the client's finger downwards. That's the only way the acrylic is going to like naturally move toward the tips of the nail, because that's like where gravity is pulling. So make sure you're holding the client's finger downward. Remove any excess product that you don't want. You don't need to keep this or constantly trying to put it back on top. Just remove it. It's already coming off. It's no good. So remove it and keep on going. Like I said, if you're not comfortable with going from the tip with your ombre, you can do it this way. Place the first bead right over where the red started. Blend that in your color, and then you come in with your cuticle bead. Place this bead just above the cuticle. You see how I have like some space there. That way I can always go in and tuck the bead back. You always want to leave room for your tucking. That way if the bead is running or anything, you have time to stop it. You have time to maneuver. So try not to place the bead exactly in your cuticle area. You want to leave a little bit of room. Now again, coming in with my clear, going to place this right in the apex area, and I'm going to work it down towards the tip, making sure I cover my ombre. You always want to make sure your apex is looking nice. This is very important for long nails. Whenever you're working with colored acrylic as well, you don't have to use too much of the color. You can always come in, get your coverage from the color, and then you use your clear to finish building the nail. So if you want to keep your color acrylic, you don't want to use up too much, just put enough, making sure you have full coverage, and then you build the rest of the nail with the clear acrylic. Now I'm coming in, I'm going to put some clear on this pinky finger. That way I'm going to be adding my glitter when the clear is wet. That way the glitter is going to stick to the clear. So whenever you're doing glitter work, try to work with the glitter, try to work with clear acrylic. That way that when the glitter dries, it's going to stay in place. So you always need to be working with the glitter and some clear or whatever powder you're planning on using. You can't just add the glitter to nothing, because whenever you come in, it's going to move. So try to just like add like, you know, some clear every now and then. That way you keep the glitter in place. Whenever you're working with glitter, you also have to be very patient, very gentle, because you don't want to end up shifting or moving it from where you placed it. I'm sure you placed it there for a reason, to cover something or to have the perfect coverage. So work with glitter, very patient, and give it some time to set before you actually start going in and moving stuff around, because that glitter will move. Or what you can do is you can pick up the glitter with the clear. So that way when you place it, it already had the clear in it, so it's going to be setting by the time you go back in for some more. It's already set. So yeah, that's it for working with glitters. Super easy. All it takes is practice. Glitters are like the easiest design or the easiest way to add some pop to your design. So if you're ever like, if you ever don't know what to do with the nail or whatever the case is, just add some glitter to one finger and that's going to save the day. I'm going to use this clear just to finish building up my pinky finger, making sure it's nice, the apex is looking good. And this in this particular nail, I was working with the clear too dry. Did you guys see how I was struggling to move that clear acrylic? That is not what you want. You always want to make sure when you're working with your clear acrylic, work on the wet side. Work on the wet side, especially if you're doing some kind of encapsulation that you really want to pop. If you want that to pop, you have to work on the wet side. This is the only way. When you put your top coat on, everything is going to be so nice and clear. So that's one thing. Don't work with your glitter too with your clear acrylic too dry, because sometimes you're going to even see like some bubbles. Like whenever you're done, it's going to have these little specks of bubbles in it. That's because your clear acrylic was too dry. Now I'm just going to come in and I'm going to go to work with this shaping, because I did not pre-shape like you guys already saw in the beginning. I didn't pre-shape, so now I have to go to work making sure everything is nice and neat. And whenever you're doing stiletto nails, you have to pay attention to the point of the nail, where the point is going. And also you don't want to remove too much product from the side wall of your nail, because then you're going to weaken the nail. Never remove product from your side wall. You want to start filing, making sure the file is connected to the nail throughout the nail, but you never want to hold it in a way where it's eating your side walls out. Your nail is going to be very weak and it's going to break easy, and it's not going to look good in the end. So how I'm filing, my file is not going in the side wall. It starts from just where I guess you'll call that the groove, just above that groove at the tip, and then I come directly to the nail tip. Yeah, I don't know if I explained that right, but just don't remove the product from your side wall, because you're going to weaken the nail. Make sure you get underneath the nail. If you have any product that, you know, whenever you were working, some of the product, it can go underneath. So make sure you're always cleaning up that, because if you don't, that's going to reflect on top. Whatever that's under is going to reflect on top. So make sure you're also paying attention to that. Whenever you're filing long nails, you have to be very careful, because if you file and you're not holding that nail in the apex, you see how I place my fingers around it? You have to do that, because the nail is really moving and it's very uncomfortable for the client. Especially long nails, you have to give it some kind of balance. That way it doesn't keep going like back and forth, because it's not a pleasant feeling. Also, you want to make sure you have a very good hand file. Your hand file needs to be nice and sharp. That way when you're filing, you're not spending too much time doing unnecessary back and forth. No. So make sure your hand file is nice and new and ready to go. Also, if you have a new hand file, one thing I'm going to tell you, some of the hand files, they're super sharp. So don't go directly to filing your client's nail, because the file can cut your client. So use another file, your old file, and just rub it against the new file, and that's going to help remove some of the sharpness of the new file. So use the old file to rub against the new file. Score the file. You basically scoring the new file, and that's going to help to remove like the sharp grits on the file. So yes, that's one more thing, because I used to cut my clients a lot with hand files. That doesn't happen anymore, and it hardly happens with these hand files, because these hand files, they get the job done, but they are not aggressive. I really want anybody on this video that use my hand file, leave a comment down below, because I know I have the best hand files on the market, hands down. These get the job done, but they are not aggressive. I used to use some files sometime, super aggressive. It's like so hard. It's so hard to use. I don't know. I really don't know. But what I love the most about these files, they are sharp, but they're not stiff. You know that stiff, hard feeling some files have? I really hate that. This is such a smooth ride. So if you haven't tried my hand files as yet, I would definitely recommend you go ahead and give it a shot. All my products are good, guys. Every single product is good. Like I put so much work in these, making sure everything I release is quality. So I'm definitely like, I stand behind all my products. Everything that I release, I stand behind it. And then I said, every link is going to be in the description box. After I'm done this, I'm going to make sure I link everything so it's easy for you guys to shop. And whenever you're shopping, you can use my code. You can use code Chelsea 10, and that's going to help you save some money, honey. Okay, so that's that for that. The shaping is done. Everything was looking nice and sharp. Definitely giving weapon. Don't play with her. One thing I never skip, I'm always turning my client's hand, looking at the nail from the client's view. That way I'm able to see what they're seeing. You never want to skip this step. This is what the clients are looking at for the next 3-4 weeks. So you want to make sure that angle is looking good, because sometimes you can miss stuff from the other angle. When you turn the nail like this is how you're going to be able to see what's missing. And look at my grooves, look at my sidewalls. I did not use the hand file and eat that out. That's what I'm saying. You want to keep your sides full. Don't go down and eat the product out. They're going to break, the nail is going to break, and it's going to be visible in your pictures. I'm going to come in with my drill. The drill that I'm using is from Melody Susie, so I'm going to be using my drill at around 20 to 21,000 RPMs, and I'm going to be using my Pana drill bit on this set. This is the medium drill bit from Pana. The link is going to be in the description as well. Everything is going to be in the description. So this is the Pana drill bit, and like I said, when I'm filing, I file at around 21,000 RPMs. I'm not saying you should file that high. You should definitely pace yourself. I think like 15 is good to start, or between 14 and 16 is a good start. Then whenever you start getting comfortable, you can always go up with your speed. But I'm at 20 or 21,000 RPMs. Whenever you're drilling, hold your drill like you're writing. This is how you're going to be able to have full control over your drill. You don't want to hold your drill up too high. Just where I place my hand, like down, I think when you hold the drill like low like that, you're going to have control over the drill. Just hold it like you're writing, and making sure your pinky finger is resting on the client's nail or on your nail, and you're going to be able to keep your drill stable. I'm usually going up and down and across when I'm doing long nails, because I find that whenever I'm drilling on long nails, it's harder for me to get like a smoother finish. So that way I decided to start going horizontal and vertical, and that way I'm going to be able to cover the surface of the nail, removing all the bumps and the lumps. I do most of my work with my drill. That way in the end, if I need to come in with my hand file, it's just going to be simple touch-ups and tightenings. But I do not I try to do all the work with the drill, because that saves me a lot of time. Also, I make sure I seal my cuticle. Wherever you're trying to seal, that's where the tip of the drill needs to be. So if you're trying to seal your sides, you should place the tip of the bit in the sides. That's the only way you're going to be able to seal your nail properly. And like I said, I'm going up and down, vertical and around. See how I place the tip of the drill in the corners? That's what you need to do. Place the tip of the bit in the corner, and also keep your hands moving. You don't want to stay in one place too long, because this can cause the client's nail to start burning. If you notice that whenever you're drilling it's taking longer, the product is not coming off, or it's causing a lot of ditches in your nail, it can mean that the drill bit is too dull. It's probably time to change your bit. So if whenever you're drilling it gets hot, the bit gets hot very fast, it can mean that either mean that you were in one place too long, or the bit is dull. So make sure I change my bits maybe like once, like 7 weeks or 8 weeks. I change my bits. They usually last like 8 weeks, and these are the panel bits, like I said, and these usually last 8 weeks. Like, I get a good run out of it because they're not that expensive, to be honest. So I think you should be able to change your bits out or downgrade them like this. I'm about to downgrade this bit to the pedicure so I could use it for like acrylic. Whenever I put acrylic on the toes, I'm going to just start using this bit for that. So sometimes I don't throw my bits away. I just downgrade it to like pedicure, because I do lots of pedicures as well. In order to get your speed up, you have to have a routine. Find a routine and stick to it. That's the only way your speed is going to improve. If you keep switching up all the time, each nail you do is a different routine, a different pattern, it's not going to work. You're going to always be all over the place. So watch different YouTube videos, see how they work, and then you can pick one that you're most comfortable with, and this is going to help you with your speed, because whenever you start working, you know what's first, you know what's next, so everything is just going to start flowing. So get your routine, get in the routine, and stick to it. You don't try to do nails like everyone else. Try to do nails like yourself. Whatever feels comfortable for you, that's what you should stick with. Stick with whatever is most comfortable. Watch different videos, and then that's it. You'll be all right. I promise you. Make sure you guys like the video and subscribe to the channel. Guys, I cannot stress anymore. Make sure you're liking the videos. That's how YouTube push my content out there. Like the videos, leave a comment down below. Whatever you're thinking, just type it. Whenever you're thinking, just type it. I really appreciate. I love to read the comments, and I'm always responding to my comments. So leave a comment down below and stop right now and hit that like button. Hit the like button. Thank you. So I'm coming in, and I'm just going to refine my shape one more time. Every time I finish drilling, I always come in and I just refine my shape, making sure everything is nice and neat, because sometimes whenever you remove products from the top of the nail, the shape can shift a little bit. So you want to always make sure whenever you're done, you just come in and refine the nail. If you see anything that needs to be done with your hand file, you come in and you get that done. Now I'm finished buffing. I'm going to just dust the nails off. You never want to leave the nail with dust on it before you start your design. Dust your nail off, and then I'm going to come in with my lint-free wipes and some alcohol. Cleanse the nail, making sure everything is free of dust, because I'm going to be coming in with polish designs. You do not want any dust in your polish, any dust in your design. that's very ugly. So try to get rid of as much dust as possible. Now I'm coming in with my Macart glue, and I'm going to put this glue on the nail, put a stone. Usually when I'm doing 3D flowers, I put the gems first, then I top coat it, then I put the 3D on top, because I noticed in the past when I used to top coat after, my 3D wouldn't have that raised look. So now I started to put the stone first, top coat, then my 3D work is last. That way I don't have to come in with my top coat. I just think when I top coat it after, it just takes that raise effect away. I don't know, that's just me. And this thing that I'm using to put the stone on, it's like a pencil. Everyone should have this. It usually come like if you buy stones or anything, this usually comes with it. So definitely you should have this, or you can always use this like a rubbery thing that I usually use sometimes to apply stones. You can go ahead and do that. Her hand was not in the light properly. I don't know if you guys saw that the stone moved just now. So all this time, maybe the light went off and she thought it was on. I don't know. But I just keep on going, put the top coat on, and I guess the stone will dry whenever she put her hands back in the light. Now I'm coming in with my 3D brush. This 3D brush is from Glitter Bells. I'm going to put this bead right next to the stone, and then I'm going to mold my flowers. I noticed that it's better to mold the flowers when the bead is on the drier side. So try not to work wet whenever you're doing 3D flowers. If you want the best results, I think you should give the bead like a few seconds to set, then you mold it. Or if you want it to set fast, what you can do is you can add some acetone to your monomer, and this is going to help the bead to dry much faster. But yeah, this is how I do my 3D flowers. Like you guys know from the beginning, I'm still practicing my 3D flowers, and this just goes to show whatever you practice and just put interest in, you're going to get so much better at it. Because my 3D flowers, they came a very long way. I'm so proud of this. These came out super cute. I still have work to do, but I was very, very satisfied with this. are wrapping up our design. All I did to the thumb was add 2 stones to the cuticle. I thought the thing was recording, but it wasn't. So I missed the thumb work, but all I did with the thumb was I added, you know, like just 2 cuticle stones, and then on the pinky finger I add like 5 small stones on the pinky finger, and that was it. So you didn't really miss anything, to be honest. So this is the final look, and guys, please don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. This is the final result. Super pretty. So yes, until next time, go on, big up on yourself. Bye.